Ever since Gartner introduced the term SASE in 2019, never has there been an industry that has seen such rapid evolution. And so today I'm going to talk to you about VMware's perspective about SASE, what's new, what's next. My name is Abe Ankuma. I'm the Vice President and General Manager for VMware's SD-WAN and SASE business. And thank you for joining us. So I'll start by talking about 4 key themes that are driving a lot of change within the enterprise. The first theme is centered around the fact that enterprises are looking to increasingly secure the increasingly distributed perimeter. And so that's one big theme. And we'll talk about specifically what we're doing in those areas. The second theme is the fact that increasingly so, more and more applications are connecting to the cloud, or more and more users are connecting to the cloud. More and more applications are deployed across multiple clouds. And that's increasing at a pretty exponential pace. And it's not just applications in multiple clouds. It's actually the fact that applications are increasingly distributed. We've moved away from monolithic applications to increasingly distributed applications. And so enterprises also have to grapple with how they actually facilitate connectivity of both their private applications that are now in these distributed clouds, as well as SaaS applications that they are consuming. One of the most interesting trends that's also happening, which is the third pillar, is all around IT and OT convergence. And there's some really remarkable use cases, whether it's in retail, manufacturing, healthcare, public safety, that is actually shaping the way enterprises are thinking about the convergence of networking and security. And then the final point, and this has been rapidly happening, which is the operational transformation with AI and ML. Now, the common theme that plays to all of this is the increasingly distributed nature of an enterprise. Your branches are increasingly distributed. Your users are increasingly distributed. So that's kind of one bookend of an increasingly distributed enterprise. The other bookend is the fact that applications themselves are increasingly distributed. And they are not simply in the public cloud construct or the SaaS construct. You also have applications that are now coming closer to the edge. The traditional architecture that, from a connectivity and from a security standpoint, that has been built really sort of centers around having this centralized choke point, if you may, which comes with a lot of inefficiencies. If your users are distributed, and if your applications are distributed, why do you have to come through a central choke point in order to get to your applications? But that's how the traditional architecture, which was built for a world where most of one's applications were in the enterprise's singular data centers, were structured. This is one of the reasons why the WAN has been broken. And this is what has led to the emergence of SD-WAN as a foundation to SASE, and a layer on of a set of additional services. And so VMware's approach to SASE starts with the belief that we need to deliver a solid networking foundation driven by SD-WAN while adding additional services that include security, both single vendor and multi-vendor, while also enabling the adoption of a whole new set of applications, so-called edge-native applications. Part of everything that we do from a SASE standpoint leverages the fact that we've built and invested in a globally distributed set of points of presence, both delivered by VMware together with our partners from around the world. So now let's talk specifically about what we're doing in terms of what it's taking to optimize the perimeter. Now, this is a pretty powerful stat, right? Which is and I would say the pandemic actually exacerbated this or accelerated this. Increasingly so, more and more users are either working hybrid or are remote. The network that I described before that went through this choke point was never built to contend with this type of reality. Now, for most of you who are familiar with VMware SD-WAN, VMware entered the SD-WAN space through the acquisition of VeloCloud in 2019. And since then, in addition to being a leading solution provider for SD-WAN, we have increasingly added more and more capabilities to our SD-WAN offer. One of those core elements of capabilities has been around security. Now, when we talk about SASE and the convergence of networking and security delivered in the cloud, one of the core tenets that has come around has been the fact that there's been a notion of single vendor SASE, which one class of customers are comfortable adopting, especially organizations where the networking and security decision is made by one team. And so there's been sort of that construct. But we also recognize the fact that for many enterprises, especially large global enterprises, the networking and the security decision actually belong to two different teams. And so it's equally important for us to also support the whole notion of dual vendor SASE. And we've done this by going off and partnering with some of the leading security providers out there. And so it's all about giving customers choice. Choice for when, if you want to adopt security and bring two vendors together, VMware from a networking standpoint, and a security investment you've previously made, we allow you to do that. And we make it easy for you to actually do that by automating the orchestration of connecting from your SD-WAN environment to the security environment. But within the construct of our own SD-WAN solution, we've also added more and more security capabilities, both in terms of single vendor centralized security capabilities within our cloud web security solution that we continue to invest in, as well as bringing security closer and closer to the edge. And so within our SD-WAN solution today, we already have a stateful firewall that's ICSA certified. We've further hardened that through the FIPS certification process that we've recently gone through. And we're continuing to add to that by doing things like SIM integration and by adding security capabilities with IDS and IPS driven by NSX security functionality. We will continue to enhance those capabilities within the coming months by adding URL filtering, by adding IP reputation, as well as deeper SIM integration. But we're not stopping there. One of the key things that's happened with the fact that enterprises are increasingly distributed is the fact that it's not enough to provide branch connectivity, performant branch connectivity. That's not enough. We are extending the definition of access and also including support for remote access. And so late last year, we introduced a client form factor to support remote workers. At Explore this week, we're announcing a more expansive view of remote access, and one of the ways we're actually doing that is by rebranding the client. You hear us refer to it more and more so as the SD Access client, or abbreviated to the SODA client. It's SODA that goes to a POP, so you've got SODA POP. And so that's the SD-WAN client that forms part of the overall connectivity fabric and consuming more and more services, some of which we're delivering either through our POPs in terms of a single security stack or a security stack that integrates with our partners from a security standpoint. And so when it comes to securing the perimeter, part of it is what we're doing by integrating more and more security functionality, as well as extending how the different options through which users can connect to the network with remote access. So in terms of what is next when it comes to securing the perimeter, think about being able to get to a point of actually having unified policies. So we talked about the fact that security can actually be enforced centrally, or it can be enforced within the edge. And so we're starting to inch towards having a unified policy construct where the IT admin or the security team does not actually have to specify where the enforcement needs to happen. The system itself is intelligent enough to know the right place and the most effective place for enforcement. And so that's point number one. We will continue to do more and more third-party SSE integrations. That's a place that we intend to continue to invest in. And then finally, when it comes to remote access, the SOTA client has been built on ZTNA principles, which means we will continue to refine what we're doing in terms of continuous evaluation of the posture of the device for remote access. We will also embed things like AI and ML techniques around visibility and user experience to drive user experience and effective user experience and visibility when it comes to remote access as well. So that's the first pillar. Now let's talk about what we're doing as it relates to connecting to the cloud. I started off by saying that enterprises are adopting increasingly more and more multi-cloud. They're no longer just adopting one cloud. They're adopting multiple clouds. And in fact, a recent study that VMware commissioned highlighted the fact that most enterprises have more than 3/4 of an enterprise have more than one cloud. Now, what does that actually mean in practice, and what do organizations do today when they actually have to access applications and data across multiple clouds? Today, enterprises take 3 different approaches. One approach might be that the enterprise who is accessing data and applications in different clouds will start by basically providing IPsec connectivity by instantiating gateways within the cloud. So that's one option that enterprises deploy in terms of self-managed multi-cloud access. Another option that VMware SD-WAN supports is allowing the enterprises to actually deploy hubs within a hyperscaler's environment. Again, that's an element of self-managed, and that's a step in the direction of what enterprises need to support. Now, we also see, and increasingly so, enterprises go the direction of actually building dedicated connections in a carrier-neutral facility to actually provide access from their branches to applications and data in multiple cloud environments. Now, one step that we've taken in recognition of the fact that multi-cloud is only growing is facilitating different modalities of connections to the cloud. So today we partner with all the hyperscalers in terms of getting users to the cloud. Something else that we do is providing support for connectivity through the cloud. And more recently, we announced a partnership with AWS where we've provided integration with AWS Transit Gateway as another mechanism for getting to the cloud and with cloud providers. One of the things which has been a very unique asset for VMware is our points of presence. And so when it comes to multi-cloud and support for multi-cloud, one of the key things that we can also now do is we're working towards taking advantage of that POP footprint and over time bringing dedicated connectivity to not only make it easy to get to the cloud, but also make it more efficient to get to the cloud, as well as deliver other services that have to do with security and policy from a user to app connectivity. And so those are the 2 things that we've been doing in terms of the first pillar around securely connecting the perimeter as well as multi-cloud access. Now, before I continue, what I would like to do is actually provide some real examples. And so I'm delighted to introduce and welcome on stage David Floyd, who is the Vice President of enterprise sales for Hughes Networks, one of our partners. Thanks for joining us, David. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. Dave Floyd, Vice President, Enterprise Sales, Cybersecurity Sales at Hughes. We are an EchoStar company. Forgive me, let me get this thing advanced. We are an EchoStar company, and we've been in business servicing the distributed enterprise for over 50 years now. So we live and breathe the large enterprise, the large distributed enterprise. We started in large satellite networks back in the 80s and 90s, and today we provide SASE-based, SD-WAN based networks to our customers. We service both, for our customers, both the WAN side and the LAN side of their distributed enterprise. Now, Hughes is a 3-year running challenger in the Gartner Global Managed Network Services Magic Quadrant. We're pretty proud of that. As well, we're 4 years in a row as a leader with Frost and their analysis of our organization. I'm going to talk to you today about in-depth one case study and superficially one other. The one I want to talk in depth is OneMain Financial. They are a nationwide consumer loan company. They have been a customer of Hughes since 1995. I believe we're on our 4th network with them. We started with a satellite VSAT-based network in 1995, and we've moved them into DSL-based broadband networks in the mid-2000s, and then we've got them into a dual broadband network SD-WAN platform in the early 2010s, and today they are now running a high-capacity dual broadband VMware edge device network with a multi-vendor SASE solution, cloud-based SASE solution. They came to us, Tunde Oni Daniel, who is the head of engineering operations, technology engineering and operations at OneMain Financial. Tunde came and talked to us, and he told me specifically he was looking for a more transparent, resilient network that is going to take them and support them as they move more applications to the cloud and give them more visibility into their network. They wanted essentially a better running, faster, higher capacity network. They wanted their security posture to be increased. They wanted to work more closely between their network provider, Hughes, and their security provider, which is Zscaler. They wanted to increase the reliability of the network. They wanted flexibility to move applications in and out of the cloud as they improve. And then they wanted more agility in their IT operations to work and support applications as they improve their services to their constituents in their 1,400 locations. What we provided to them is a multi-vendor SASE solution that is rooted in a dual 610 edge VMware edge network device. So there's 2 devices at every location, two egresses for transport to the cloud, all integrated with their Zscaler security solution that's provided by a third party. One of the interesting things about OneMain is they run their business on the telephone still. The individual branch at the edge still bangs the phones all day long, talking to their customers, and they do loan applications online. So resiliency of the network was extremely important to them. That's demonstrated. I think they run 3.5 million VoIP calls, VoIP minutes per week across the network. We rolled this network out in 100 business days. It's 2,800 610 edge devices. The most amazing thing is it took us about 10 minutes per location to integrate the new platform, pull the old platform out. Each location had less than a minute of downtime when we did this. We finished this deployment in 40 business days ahead of schedule. So I've told you a little bit about it. I want to let Tunde tell you about his experience with Hughes now.
My role is Head of Technology Operations and Engineering, and I've been in OneMain for almost 4 years now. So when you think about an organization like ours that's across 44 states, the ability to centrally manage and ensure the same experience across all connections that you provide to your team members becomes very, very important. The right experience and the right customer service that you give within your network service and the optimum performance cannot be assured because you have dependencies on multiple providers. So when you think about multiple provider delivered capabilities, the assurance of quality is not a thing that you could do, and it becomes a limitation for what kind of optimum service you want to provide. So leveraging a solution like this was probably the only choice we had to give us to the next level of where we need to get to. Because ultimately ensuring team members have the right connectivity, the right experience, the right performance, so they can serve the customers becomes the #1 goal for my organization and for us as a whole, to ensure that we have the best experience for our hardworking Americans. So I think the one point is centralization of capabilities. One of the value cases that came with the solution is being able to bring security and performance into one dashboard, merging all the things you want to do to make it design secure, at the same time unify the right experience. So you're understanding what's happening, how you're securing, how performance is working in a unified view. So there's no ambiguity about what the actual experience looks like. Remember, I keep using the word experience because that's the ultimate goal, where you create security without friction. There's implicit friction given through the journey there, but the value case of the solution is you now have security built into it, reduce friction, better performance, better experience for all that it needs to do. The Hughes team has been an extension of my team. My interviewer is one that's actually one of the key team members that drove the success here, because the idea is we worked as one converged team. There was no Hughes team or OneMain team. It was one team driving the implementation. And the value was we created value. We hit barriers, we troubleshot together, we solution together, we built the right fit for our organization, while Hugh was just there along with the right to make sure we're enabled. And when it got to delivering the service to our branches and our team members, Hughes was right there embarking and connecting and talking and working through barriers and issues and managing personnel challenges to make it work. All in all, just a good partnership. Be open, be hungry, ask questions, challenge the status quo, and do something different. Because the reality is you get to advance yourself in a way that enables your organization to move by leaps and bounds.
To consistently see real time what's going on in their network. And that was very important to the customer and to Tunde as a leader at OneMain in their IT organization. Now lastly, I won't go into depth, but I'm going to just explain to you, and one other network that we've deployed over the last 12 months with the help of our partnership with VMware is a company called the Vitamin Shop. The Vitamin Shop runs 700 retail locations across the country. And they came to us trying to upgrade their network. They're moving, by and large, all of their applications to the cloud. They wanted a SASE-based solution, and they came to Hughes to ask us to architect a solution for them. We called our partners at VMware and brought them in, and together we architected using VMware's SD-WAN platform and combining that with Hughes's firewall, cloud-based firewall as a service solution. We provided them a full SASE solution to all their locations across the country. Feel free to scan the QR code for a case study, or come by and see us, better yet, at booth 721, and you can visit with my colleagues, and they can tell you all about the great things we're doing with VMware as they advance into their pursuit of SASE-based solutions. And so with that, I appreciate the VMware team and their partnership. Abe, I thank you very much for having us.
Likewise.
And I'll turn this back over to you and let you move on.
Thank you. All right. Give it up for Dave. All right. So in addition to what you saw with OneMain, in addition to the case study with the vitamin shop. I want to just give a quick plug for another customer who's actually doing a live session at Explore tomorrow, Providence Healthcare. They're doing a session tomorrow, Thursday at 10:30 a.m. right here. So if you're able to, it would be awesome to go join it. You will see a live customer talk about how they went through making the business case around digital transformation in healthcare and how they are leveraging the VMware SD-WAN solution in order to actually go through that transformation. And so Kelly and his team are here, and they'll be doing this session tomorrow. Now let me talk about the third pillar that I alluded to, which is around, increasingly so, organizations in healthcare, organizations in manufacturing, retail, public sector, are increasingly bringing applications to the edge. One of the manifestations of that is that the edge is actually one of the fastest places where workloads are moving to. And these workloads are moving there for the primary reason of driving critical use cases and business outcomes that were not possible before. Now, as these workloads move to the edge, connecting them are very critical. But let me talk about what that actually looks like in terms of accelerating some of these operational transformations. So what you see here is a classic example of IT and OT convergence, but what it used to look like previously, where everything is hardware defined. And so what you see on the left is the amount of hardware that has actually been put together, has been integrated together to deliver a number of use case capabilities in public sector. This is specifically done in the UK. This is the Surrey and Sussex Police Department. They have purpose-built hardware sitting in the trunk of the police car to help them do things like video surveillance, to help them do things like storing that video. But the fact that it's been so hardware defined also meant that they lack agility, or this approach has lacked the agility when it comes to supporting additional use cases. Guess what? This hardware is also weight. It's weight to the police car, which means that, guess what? The tires have to take on more weight, and so you need to change those tires a lot more often. That weight also means there's a lot more fuel consumption. And so what the Surrey and Sussex Police Department decided to do in our partnership with them, together with a company called Genoptics, is taking this specific hardware capabilities and actually moving it into a software form factor. And so imagine all these pieces of hardware, roughly 300 pounds worth of hardware, taking the capabilities and functionality with the ability to actually add more functions and putting it in a general purpose server appliance that's on the right in the picture you see here. Now, within that appliance, what's within that appliance is VMware's edge compute stack, on top of which the automatic license plate recognition software is deployed, as well as video surveillance capabilities. But to do all of that is not enough. You also now need to provide the appropriate connectivity of these applications connecting to the police headquarters. Able to then also future-proof it to actually add additional functionality. And so in this particular capability with the Surrey and Sussex Police Department, which is a mobile edge computing use case, what it also allows them to do is have resilient connectivity. And so this solution actually is connected with dual LTE connections that provides resilient connectivity in terms of not sending the video of the license plate all the way to command and control, but instead just identifying the right features, just the metrics on the license plate. That's the only thing that you need to send up if you're trying to understand, hey, is this a car or is this vehicle with this license plate someone that I should be on the lookout for, right? And so that's one example of IT and OT transformations. There's an increasing number of these types of use cases that are emerging in healthcare, that are emerging in retail, and SD-WAN and SASE are inextricably integrated and tied to the development and success of these business-critical use cases. Now, if you want to see this use case, you don't have to travel all the way to the UK. Just make it down to the show floor. You can't miss it. There's this massive Ford F-150 truck on the show floor. This is exactly what's in the truck that the Surrey and Sussex Police Department are leveraging in terms of IT and OT transformation powered by SD-WAN and SASE. Now, this is what's on the runtime. Another important thing when it comes to the IT and OT convergence is all around how do you make it simple to handle the lifecycle management? How do you make it easy to deploy? How do you make it easy to upgrade? How do you make it easy to visualize it? And so something else that we've done as part of our partnership within VMware with the Edge Compute team is we've extended the orchestrator, the SASE orchestrator. We've extended its function to now make it the VMware Edge and Cloud Orchestrator, VECO. And so in addition to the orchestrator today already supporting SD-WAN provisioning, SODA access provisioning, an SD-WAN client, and so on, we're now adding the ability to actually provision edge compute workloads within that same single pane of glass. It will have the constructs of role-based access, so that the right person in the organization or the right person within the partner who's supporting these environments has access to the right information at the right time. But again, it's our view of the expansive nature of what SASE is all about. Now let me talk about the fourth pillar. The fourth pillar, which is everything that AI, and increasingly so generative AI, is starting to do in terms of transforming IT, OT, and security operations. But I'll start with the IT operations side. Every one of you who's had to manage a network knows that troubleshooting can be a pain. Let me state it another way. Troubleshooting is a pain. The network is always guilty until proven innocent. And traditionally, up until a few years ago, the ability to have visibility and troubleshoot a heterogeneous network has always been a challenge. You had to collect data. By the time you detected that problem or the user reported that issue and you went to collect that data, the problem might have gone away. And so we have already taken the first step of bringing proactive troubleshooting using AI and ML through edge network intelligence in terms of what we offer as part of VMware SASE. Edge network intelligence drives things like assisted remediation. It provides baselining every critical service within the enterprise environment, provides multi-vendor visibility into wireless LAN, network services like DNS and DHCP, as well as the applications. That's what's already available today. But we also want to showcase and highlight for you, and so think about this as a sneak peek, something else that we're working on that is bringing Gen AI capabilities to further help IT, OT, and security teams manage and support this increasingly heterogeneous and dynamic IT environment. And to help me do that, I'm going to invite David to join me in showcasing VMware's SASE Intelligent Assist. Welcome, David.
Thank you very much. Good morning. I am very excited to show you guys this demo with generated AI and VMware SD-WAN. It's something near and dear to my heart. I think it's something that's going to change how we interact with networks, how we interact with performance metrics, how we interact with even customer service, faster time to resolution. Let me kick off this demo. Okay. All right, so we're going to kick this off. We're going to start with a Slack notification. Just imagine I'm the admin sitting behind the Slack, and I say, oh, there's a notification here from the VCO. And it says, okay, I got a link down event occurred at your Seattle location. And it says, okay, let's go to the VCO, check out some more. Now, if you notice, there's the connected edges. I don't see any problem just from this dashboard. Now, I can go to the alerts, I can go to the events, I can try to figure out what's going on, but you know what? I want to go to my Copilot. SASE Copilot. And now, I can sit here and ask questions, interact with it. So, for example, my network is having network connectivity issues at the Seattle edge. Can you tell me more about it? As it comes back with some more information. So it comes back with the Seattle edge showing that there's an internet connection, MPLS connection, the timestamps of 2 incidences that have occurred. Basically it's saying though that the links are showing today, or showing right now, connected. So I want to understand more. So now it's asking, do you want to proceed with more steps? Now we're looking at doing more of a recommendation system here, so it would actually pop up bubbles. So again, this is just the beginning, but it kind of gives you a flavor of what we're looking at. So I'm going to say yes, let's go ahead and proceed with next steps. So proceed with the next steps and give me any recommendations. Okay, so it says, since this is already, the link is already connected, it's suggesting it might be an intermediate internet connectivity issue due to an unstable link. Now, some recommendations come back and says, hey, what can we do to remediate this issue? So one recommendation was using a business policy. So I went and actually checked the configuration to see if there's a business policy in place. As you can see here, it says, no, there is not a business policy there. So it can help prioritize the optimization if we do a backhaul policy over the MPLS link. So at this point, I can say, okay, great. I'm going to schedule a change control window and make this change. But of course, anybody that's working support, Friday, 3 p.m., there's other problems coming in, right? So you think you're gonna go home? No. So I say, okay, great, but I also have application performance issues. Can you tell me what is going on? Okay, so it comes back and says, look, I've got a performance incident, and it's showing me the application, Office 365. Gives me the date and time of the incident, root cause. Typical is WAN latency. However, it's checked the quality of experience, and it shows that it's a 9.8. So it's saying that, hey, tunnel health looks good. So there could be another reason why this problem is. Again, the recommendation system is coming back and say, could be due to high application traffic or bandwidth utilization. So can you investigate high application traffic and give me relative details? Okay. So it goes on to say that the application at the Seattle edge had an increase in traffic from 20 megs to 300 megs at this specific time. It's also noted a client, Mac SE1, had a spike in application. So here is some more information that would not be available if I'm digging through the logs. It wouldn't be immediately visible. This is now correlated this data. It's now handed back to me, something more focused that I can investigate. It gives a suggestion, could be due to excessive downloads, possible, malware. Maybe there's a security incident here. So I said, okay. Show me the time series of Office 365 traffic for client Mac SE1. All right, so now we get a graphical representation. What you're seeing here is where that spike has gone up. Okay, now, could there be a firewall log, some kind of entry for this? Maybe there's other correlation that is detailing this spike in traffic. So are there any firewall logs associated with client Mac SE1? Give me a brief summary. And it says, yes, there are firewall logs for Mac SE1. The log summary indicates that we have 52 suspicious, 3 high, 1 critical. And the critical event is showing a signature ID, which is common in ransomware campaigns. So, this is just a quick nutshell of what we can do with this data. Imagine these possibilities, right? You can do alert and monitoring analysis, configuration recommendations, proactive recommendations on performance, business policy configurations, networking, right? There's so much that can be done here that we are excited to, first quick demo for you guys, but more to come. Hope you guys enjoyed the demo. Thank you.
David. So think about the possibilities here. This is still a sneak peek, and it's very much in the early phases. Something that we did earlier this week was we spent some time with a lot of our partners, a lot of our customers, to get feedback on where areas where we can tune and refine this. But think about the ability for LLMs and the tremendous amount of data we collect, the billions of telemetry we collect, to use that to actually help transform operations. The billions of insights that we collect from data standpoint, as well as the solutions to the problems that have previously been brought to bear, right? Whether it's our support team or whether it's the partner supporting the customers and those knowledge bases, actually being able to leverage them like that. And getting to the point where the solution can actually, a priori, predict a question you might actually have for it before you ask it. And so you're going to see us talk about Intelligent Assist or Copilot. We're finalizing the brand. We'll probably go with Intelligent Assist. But this notion of bringing generative AI to help support the transformation that's happening at the edge is going to be the other thing that you'll be seeing more and more from in terms of all of VMware SASE and Edge. And so just to recap, we talked about these 4 macro trends, the first being securing the perimeter, and exactly what we're doing there, right? And we're securing the perimeter by adding more and more security capabilities and functions built on top of SD-WAN, bringing cloud-delivered security, both in terms of what we do natively within our POPs through a single-pass architecture, as well as our partnerships with other security providers. And so that's a lot of what we're doing in terms of securing the edge. It's about providing reliable, secure connectivity when it comes to the edge and visibility. So that's that first tranche. When it comes to connecting to the cloud, it's about facilitating what it means to connect to a multi-cloud environment and providing our customers and our partners with different ways of doing it based on where they are in their evolution to multi-cloud. But how do we do it reliably? How do we enable customers and partners to do it more and more cost-effectively and bringing down the complexity, which results in savings in terms of operational expenses? Then it's also about this whole edge transformation and allowing customers, in starting with some of these really interesting verticals, whether it's healthcare, whether it's retail, whether it's manufacturing, driving that operational transformation with OT and IT. Again, if you haven't been on the show floor to see the Ford F-150, that is highlighting the use case with the Surrey and Sussex Police Department. Highly encourage you to do that. And within that, networking and security are inextricably tied to those types of solutions. And then finally, all that is being done to transform operations. And transform operations by supporting what our partners are doing in order to support their end users. And in some cases, our partners are working with end customers in a co-managed environment. And AI and ML and all that's possible today with generative AI is going to provide that remarkable foundation for that. And so with that, I want to thank all of you for coming to today's talk. I also want to thank my co-presenters, Dave and David. Let's give them a big round of applause. And then just highlight the fact that there are, there's the Hughes booth. Check out the Vitamin Shop case study, as well as if you're able to go check out the Providence session tomorrow as well. Again, thank you. Enjoy Vegas and enjoy Explore.